It began in the dead of night, no warning, no mercy, just the sound of explosions lighting up the sky. Across Ukraine, cities went dark as waves of Russian drones, and missiles tore through the country's energy grid. Power stations erupted in flames. Entire regions were plunged into blackout. For millions of Ukrainians, the nightmare had returned. The war wasn't just at the front lines anymore. It was in their homes, in the cold, and in the silence that follows destruction. This latest strike campaign is one of the most intense since the war began. Russia unleashed hundreds of drones and cruise missiles, targeting power plants, gas facilities, and transmission lines across Ukraine. Officials describe it as a coordinated attempt to cripple the country's energy system ahead of winter, a move that could push Ukraine into a humanitarian crisis. The goal seems clear: to break morale, to force surrender through freezing darkness, and to show the world that Russia still holds the power to devastate from afar. But this isn't just about explosions and damage. It's about strategy and survival. Russia knows that modern wars are fought not only on battlefields, but in the power grids and communication lines that keep a nation alive. By targeting energy infrastructure, Moscow isn't just destroying physical assets, it's attacking the lifeline of an entire society. Every blackout means hospitals operating on generators, schools shutting down, families without heat, and industries grinding to a halt. Ukraine, however, isn't folding. In fact, this wave of attacks has only strengthened the resolve of its people. Emergency crews are working around the clock to restore electricity. Engineers, often under fire, are repairing transmission towers and substations within hours of being hit. Volunteers deliver generators and heating units to villages cut off from power. It's an act of defiance that has become almost routine, but still deeply heroic. President Zelensky called the strikes energy terrorism, warning that Russia is deliberately targeting civilians in an attempt to break their spirit. He urged international allies to step up air defense support, especially advanced systems capable of intercepting the latest generation of Russian drones and cruise missiles. And in response, Ukraine's Western partners are once again rallying. The United States, the UK, and several European countries have already announced plans to send additional defense aid, including interceptors, radar systems, and spare parts for Ukraine's aging air defense network. Still, the challenge remains enormous. Russian attacks are becoming more sophisticated, with mixed waves of drones and missiles launched simultaneously to overwhelm Ukraine's defenses. Many of these drones, especially the Shahd 136, is supplied by Iran, are cheap, fast, and hard to track. They fly low, weaving between radar zones, forcing Ukrainian forces to spend precious missiles to shoot them down. It's a battle of endurance, Ukraine trying to save power, Russia trying to drain it. And this isn't happening in isolation. Every strike is also a message to Ukraine, to NATO, and to the world. As the war grinds into another winter, Putin is betting that fatigue and fear will do what tanks could not. By freezing Ukraine, he hopes to freeze global attention. The logic is brutal but calculated. If Ukraine can't keep the lights on, it can't keep fighting. Yet history might prove him wrong. The last time Russia tried this during the winter of 2022, Ukraine adapted. People learned to survive without stable electricity. Restaurants cooked with gas burners, metro stations doubled as shelters, and cities organized invincibility centers, where citizens could charge phones, stay warm, and get basic supplies. It was a moment that showed the world something extraordinary. Ukraine's resilience isn't just military, it's deeply human. Now the world is watching again. Social media is flooded with videos of glowing skies over Kyiv, Odessa, and Kharkiv. The sound of anti-aircraft guns echoes through the night as defenders scramble to intercept incoming threats, and while the destruction is immense, the spirit remains unbroken. You can feel it in the words of people posting from the darkness, "We still stand, we're still here." They can't turn off our courage. From a strategic perspective, analysts say this renewed assault also signals a shift in Russia's war priorities. With its ground forces stretched and morale low, Moscow is relying more on long-range warfare drones, missiles, and cyber attacks to maintain pressure without risking massive troop losses. It's a war of technology now, where engineers and coders are as important as soldiers. Ukraine, for its part, is also adapting improving radar networks, deploying decoy systems to confuse missiles, and even using artificial intelligence to predict strike patterns. One of the biggest challenges, however, is sustainability. Each interception costs Ukraine thousands of dollars in ammunition, while Russia spends just a fraction to launch cheap kamikaze drones. It's a cost war, and it's unsustainable in the long run without consistent international support. That's why these strikes aren't only an attack on Ukraine, they're a test for the West. How long can allies keep up the flow of funding, weapons, and political will before exhaustion sets in? Meanwhile, the civilian toll continues to rise. Hospitals are struggling to keep power for life, saving equipment. Parents are carrying children to underground shelters in the middle of the night. Farmers are watching crops rot as refrigeration systems fail. And yet, amidst the suffering, there's defiance and national identity forged in the fires of survival. Ukrainians know the price of freedom, and they're paying it daily. Russia, on the other hand, is trying to send a domestic message as well. Kremlin media presents these strikes as proof of military strength, as if destroying Ukraine's energy grid is a sign of control. But the reality is more complicated. Experts say such tactics often backfire, hardening the resolve of the targeted population. The more Moscow tries to crush Ukraine's will, the stronger it seems to grow. There's also a geopolitical layer. Every missile that lands near a power plant echoes in European capitals. It reminds the EU how fragile the region's security remains and how energy can be weaponized. This winter, Europe is preparing for potential gas disruptions, power shortages, and a renewed refugee wave if Ukraine's energy crisis deepens. The war's impact doesn't stop at Ukraine's borders. It ripples through economies, politics, and human lives far beyond. But amid all this destruction, there's something remarkable happening: innovation. Ukrainian engineers are designing modular energy systems, small, movable power units that can replace damaged infrastructure quickly. Tech companies are building drones that intercept enemy drones mid-air. International coalitions are experimenting with satellite-based early warning systems to predict missile routes. The war has accelerated technological progress in ways that could redefine future defense systems. Still, the emotional weight is undeniable. Imagine sitting in your home, the lights flicker, then fade. The temperature drops. You hear sirens in the distance, then silence. And yet, you choose to stay because this is your home and leaving means surrender. That's what millions of Ukrainians are living every day. Their resilience isn't a slogan, it's a way of life. As global attention drifts between headlines, this latest wave of strikes is a stark reminder that the war is far from over. Russia may be trying to break Ukraine's energy, but it hasn't broken its energy, the humankind, and in war, that's often the most powerful force of all. For now, the lights in many cities will stay dim. The repairs will take weeks, maybe months, but Ukraine's determination burns brighter than any blackout. The question is whether the world will continue to keep that light alive through support, through awareness, and through unity against aggression. Because this isn't just Ukraine's fight. It's a fight over what kind of world we want to live in, one where power decides everything, or one where people refuse to be silenced, no matter how many times the lights go out. If you've been watching this far, take a moment to share your thoughts. What do you think this new phase of the war means for the future? Will these strikes change the outcome or only strengthen Ukraine's resolve? Let us know in the comments. And if you believe stories like this need to be heard, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more updates, and share it to spread awareness. Together, we can keep the light of truth alive even in the darkest of times.